click on the one above where you are just to show Alys Beach, because I think we're going to get in that. That's where we're working a lot right now. We have 25 projects in Alys Beach. We've only been working there about 3.5 years, so we find it fortunate that we've been able to do that many projects. Alys Beach is just a wonderful new traditional town as well. It's a Dewani Zyberk design planned community, basically getting its design concept from Bermuda and Central America even, and the West Indies. So you're seeing this white on white with a little white trim type of community that just feels wonderful.
You
So
feel like you're in Greece or something, Santorini. It's incredible. What's really incredible too is the details of the finishes. So maybe this is just a me thing of where I grew up, but in Florida, kind of Fort Myers, Sarasota in the 90s and early 2000s, the developments were very faux in a sense. Maybe that was just a thing.
Mediterranean, Italianate,
Mediterranean,
yeah,
the kind of faux facade with the pitch, almost
yeah,
like a Lowe's or something. Like every development looked like and felt like
like a
that.
Lowe's. I love it.
When me, right, learning about Alys Beach and Seaside in this area when I was growing up, I didn't really think much about it because I thought, oh, it's probably just a BS little white painted houses and it's made to look like Greece, but it's
Mm,
not really going to feel
right.
like it. Well, I visited there a few years ago. The finishes, the real wood beams people use,
Yeah.
and some of the stones, and it's very, very well done. And I think if you go and you visit, you feel like, wow, this is intentional design. This is fantastic. How how early on were you involved in some of the design? I know you said now you have a lot of projects, but where did this kind of concept, this look come from?
Well, again, I was not, and I have regrets, great regrets for not getting in early. I started to before, and as I got into development and started doing things around the country, I kind of pulled back out of my focus out of the 30A area. Still had an office here and still did a lot of work, but was not really concentrating. And Alys Beach kind of slipped through my fingers. And after when COVID hit is when I went back and
Mm.
and and bought there and decided to stay. And I was in love with it the whole time, but I really got my fingers deep into it about early COVID.
You mentioned kind
So
of about Ybor when you were younger, a buzz, and how you can kind of feel the energy of an area and the growth.
mhm.
Assuming you feel that up there, is that how you steer your ship when you're being speculative with real estate development? You kind of have to feel some sort of an energy in a neighborhood or a location.
Yeah, yeah, I think so, Garrett. Knowing that I know that 17 miles of road like the back of my hand. I grew up there, and I know a lot of the people, and you can tell when something of quality. And this, Alys Beach, for instance, all Seaside, WaterColor, Rosemary, those all, and WaterSound, those all focus on quality of design.
Yeah.
So design became important when I started in architecture. Design was, design was secondary to function and making money, and
Mm.
the looks, the aesthetics were not on the forefront. Now it is about design, prescriptive codes here that you are basically you're following, you're doing it their way in a good way. I mean that in a good way, but you can get creative. You're using certain materials, not introducing others. Windows, perfect light proportions, the way eaves, brackets, overhangs, every single detail is scrutinized. You go through three design reviews, really four, three detailed design reviews, which does take time in the process, but you are scrutinized from your concept design into your schematics into your finals, and everything is looked at down to the doorknob or doorbell that you're using. And
Wow.
so it's a great process. They have a really wonderful town architect, Marianne Curry Vogt, and her husband Eric, who have run that town from pretty much from the beginning. Do a wonderful job. There's a good dozen architects that are working there, and a good about that same number in builders. So it slows down a little bit to get things done in a hurry, but things are done better because
Hmm.
of it. So
Yeah, I think I would say it's worth it. It's worth all the scrutiny because you go there and
absolutely.
it's just gorgeous. So there's not a specific floor plan or a look you have to choose from. There's just very strict parameters
Yeah.
from design to building materials, everything like that. Do they have a commission, like a council of some sort that votes on projects, or how does that work?
Design review. So each house or neighborhood might be set up with a house type. So you have a neighborhood type, you have a house type, so a courtyard house or a home or a townhouse type design. So that's what you would follow in these areas. So you know pretty well what you need to do as an architect or designer, and you need to have an approved designer doing it so they know which way to go. So you're designing pretty much following that standard, and then you're governed by the architectural review board, and that's that approval process that you go through.
Besides some of the smaller, like your own office building and some of the developments in Tampa at the time, was this your first step into development, speculative development?
No. My first one was here on Davis Islands.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I designed 3 houses and developed 3 houses along with Alys Beach, local attorney and real estate developer. We bought what looked to be a double lot on Davis Island. I went and was able to buy a 10-foot strip to add onto the property to make it 3 houses, which made our first development go. Woo! And we started building. My wife fell in love with one, so we're keeping one. And that's where first house we had on Davis Islands, where our daughter was born. And we sold the other 2. And then not soon after, but a few years after, sold and built on Adelia.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so some of this development stuff. Now, what are you developing here? Mostly single family?
Yeah, this is all. Yeah, what we're doing single family. All the multifamily and larger scale is done by EBSCO, which is the developer, Alys Beach Construction.
Got it.
And their group, their architects and designers are doing the big stuff.
So the original developer is still heavily involved in
yeah.
some of the larger scale stuff,
Yes.
the commercial.
Heavily
and all that.
involved, yes.
You kind of have to be though, right? How do you?
Yeah.
You want to control that look and feel, and
They've got a commitment to see this thing through to the end. It's about half built out in round numbers for lots, and they are building out a lot of their final. They've got another big pool and club that's being under construction now. They've got more retail restaurant. They're going to build a couple more condo buildings. So they are dedicated to doing it the right way, and that's why Alys Beach will always be a really high sought after demand because of the quality and the development and the consciousness that's gone in and stays with it all the way through. That's why we're happy to be a part of it.
And we were talking too, I don't know if this was live or right before we went live, but we were talking about the people from outside of your typical Georgia, kind of Mississippi, Alabama people coming south. Now there's people from California moving in,
New York.
This whole 30A is being found out.
Yeah, pretty much has always been somewhat of drive market. If you draw the arc from maybe Charlotte through, obviously Atlanta, Nashville, Knoxville, Memphis, down to Houston and Dallas, New Orleans, that circle is the main focus. You know, that's where the most people come from. But more so, you're seeing signs from Michigan, and you're seeing New York, you're seeing California. I've got 3 clients from St. Louis. It's kind of different. So,
Interesting.
Yeah, St. Louis is big. It was a big draw. One of the clients was California via Arizona, and so you're seeing a lot of draw of what's happening in that Panhandle area.
If you enjoyed this clip, click here for the full episode and make sure to subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.